snacking issues, emotional eating, hunger, sugar addictions. Any of those resonate? Let's unpack that today on Warrior Wednesday Wellsprings. Welcome. So glad you guys are here. Welcome to yet another episode of Warrior Wednesday Wellsprings. So, I want to start today's topic by talking about the big food industry and talking about why people struggle with snacking, why people struggle with hunger when they shouldn't struggle with hunger, why people struggle with sugar addictions, and also why people struggle with emotional eating. First, I want to say something about emotional eating. You're not broken. There is nothing wrong with you. You are not the problem. And the same goes for all four of those. You are not the problem. There's a very small aspect of, yeah, okay, you've got a choice. But there's a much bigger aspect of it where you have nothing to do with it. Here's what I mean. This industry has literally been stacked against you. In every way, shape, or form, it has been stacked against you. And that's one of the things you need to realize. The other thing you need to realize is big food has created their foods. And I am also talking about those protein bars. I am talking about those nutrition bars. I am talking about everything and anything out there that is packaged and boxed and touts itself as healthy. All of it. And even the things that don't tout itself as healthy that are just addictive. All of it has been created to bring you to the perfect bliss point. All of it. This big food industry spends billions of dollars on top scientific research to design foods to bring you to that perfect bliss point. Not above, not below, the perfect bliss point to keep you coming back for more. And I'm not talking about, so, a lot of people, articles that I read, they're just like, yeah, specific amounts of sugar, specific amounts of fats, and not the good kind of fats, specific amounts of salt and everything else. Okay, so I'm not talking about the basics there. Yes, that is happening. They design them with specific amounts of that to bring you to the perfect bliss point. But they've also got chemical stuff in their products that is specifically designed to keep you coming back for more. Let's take Cheetos for a minute. A bag of Cheetos. You get into a bag of Cheetos, about, I don't know, 7 or 8 Cheetos, and your fingers have that dust on them, right? And then you're licking your fingers. With each lick on that dust, just does a whole bunch of different things to your taste buds. It does a whole bunch of things to your mind. And it just keeps you wrapped up in this loop of keep eating and just wanting to crave. All right, so let's get back to the bliss point. When these foods bring you to that bliss point, they're reaching the pleasure centers of your brain. And so what does that mean? If it's reaching the pleasure centers of your brain, guess what? Emotional eating. It's tapping into your emotions as well. And then eventually it begins to rewire your taste buds. It begins to rewire what you're craving. It begins to rewire all of those things. And then pretty soon you are hooked in that system. So what it basically means, and what I'm saying, is that emotional eating, your snacking issues, your hunger issues, your sugar addictions, they are actually created by the industry. Let's take it a step further. The tobacco and cigarette industry. Back in the 1980s and 1990s, their profits and sales were declining. And they were panicking. They had to do something. So R.J. Reynolds and Philip Morris decided to turn their attention to another profitable industry, food. Their top scientists, their top researchers, the same people that worked so hard to make cigarettes very addictive, were now assigned to the food sector. The reason for all this, obviously, is because all of that was declining. It was coming out that cigarettes were harmful. It was coming out that cigarettes cause this and cause that and cause cancer and all this other stuff. So people were backing away from it, right? So their same scientists, their same researchers were now assigned to the food sector to create foods that make you addicted. And so now knowing that, the detrimental part of this is that those same foods that are out there are packaged and advertised as healthy. And they're not. And I see people out there buying this stuff all the time. I'll never forget it. I was in Aldi's and I was in the checkout line, and it was quite a long line this particular time. And so we were partially in an aisle. And there was a mom with two kids in front of me. Little girl sitting in the cart and a little boy just running amok outside the cart, driving the mom crazy. In addition to that, the girl was driving the mom crazy because she kept getting into things. She was opening things she wasn't supposed to open and all kinds of things. And I could tell the mom was done. Like, you could pretty much tell in the air that she was ready to pull out her hair. She wanted out of there. She was tired of them. She just wanted out of there. All right. So I'm painting the picture here. In that state, the mom then just randomly turns around, and on the very end of the food aisle there is these Nutri-Grain bars. I think they were called Nutri-Grain bars. I think they were called fruit and grain bars, actually. And I watched her pick up this box of fruit and grain bars. Look at the front. I mean, it had all kinds of interesting things on the front, no high fructose corn syrup, no artificial flavors, no this, no that, real fruit, all this, only 160 calories. The mom took about 3 seconds and looked at the front of the box, put that box in her cart, and then reached over and grabbed another box of a different flavor. And she never turned it over. She never looked at the back. And I was standing there and I was like, I wonder. So I went over. I went over to where those fruit and grain bars were. And I looked at the front of the box. I looked at what the mom was being sold on, and then I turned it over. Imagine my surprise when I turned it over. That isn't real food. It wasn't real food. There were so many ingredients in there that I could not even pronounce. I didn't even know what they were. So many synthetic vitamins in there. There were industrial seed oils in there and all the things. But see, that's who they're selling to. They're banking on the fact that you're going to be in the store, you're in a hurry, you want to get out of there. I myself have been guilty of that too. But every time I let my guard down and I don't look at the ingredients of something, sure enough, I get it home and I end up taking it back. Because I'm just like, I don't want that in my house. It rarely happens anymore, but yeah, that's why it's important to start turning the freaking thing over. Right? And here's the thing. There is a way out of the system. There is a way out of the system. You've just got to change the way you're thinking around things. And so here's how it begins. So number one, I am not a big believer in multiple meals per day. That as well was created with no scientific basis. It didn't come from doctors either. It was highly influenced and directly connected to John Rockefeller. Some of you didn't know that one. Yeah, I'm not going to get into all of that on why and how and all the things. But yes, the whole 3 meals per day concept, including breakfast, was highly influenced and created by John Rockefeller, not for a better way of eating or nutrition. It was created for profits and highly influenced for profits. Long story around that. That is another episode. Okay, so I teach my clients 1 to 2 meals per day. And I'm going to tell you, they don't struggle with hunger issues. They don't struggle with snacking issues. They no longer struggle with emotional eating. Why? Because I've helped them rebuild back up their world using foods that God has designed and foods that are highly satiating, like animal proteins and good saturated fat. That's what I teach. And it's just so funny. I don't even really have to really dive in there and deal too much with snacking issues because it just eventually dissipates. As they're eating more foods that God has designed for them, it dissipates. All of a sudden, food is not something they're running to for comfort or for a band-aid for their bad day. Food is something they're running to intentionally for nutrition, for what's good for their body, right? And on top of it, I teach them how to do this sustainably. And that's the key. Because I think on the front end, it may sound a little overwhelming, and kind of it is on the front end. But as we take one step at a time and we make tweaks here and there and here and there and keeping it sustainable, they don't have snacking issues. And I'll never forget one thing one of my clients said to me the other day is he said, I can't even remember the last time I grabbed a snack. That's what I'm talking about right there. That's how it happens. Now, somebody might come to me and say, well, how do I make it affordable? And actually, one of my clients said that to me on one of our coaching session a few sessions ago. We're just trying to make it affordable. Well, let me give you something to think about on that. And I actually wrote a resource booklet on this. You can find it on my website, www.masteryweightloss.com. And you go to the resource book tab and you'll find this document, Make It Affordable, something like that. I titled it. But here's how that happens. So you've got on one side, you've got the person that's eating boxed and pre-made foods and different things like that and trying to be healthy with all of it. But they still have snacking issues. They still have to eat different times during the day and all this other stuff. And so they're spending money on all of that extra food and all of that extra stuff, right? And then over here, you've got the person that is eating 1 to 2 meals per day. They're eating animal meats, highly satiating. Yeah, the animal meats are a little bit more pricey than the pre-made box stuff. But overall, they're spending less because they're eating less. Huh? You ever think about it that way? And I actually did some calculations in that resource booklet that I produced. It actually, in the long run, ends up being less because you're eating less. You're less dependent on all these fillers and snacks and da-da-da-da that you don't need. Did you catch that? That you don't need. You may want them. You may crave them, but remember where that craving is coming from. It also means that your hormones are off and all kinds of different things like that. And that gets fixed too when you start eating foods that are designed by God. So I just wanted to handle that objection too. Make it affordable. We're just trying to make it affordable. Is that, eating healthy is expensive. No, it's not. Not when you do it the way we were designed to do it. Hey, our ancient ancestors, you guys, and I know I'm going a little long on this one, our ancient ancestors, they didn't eat 3, 4, 5 meals per day. Reality check, they ate 1, maybe 2 meals per day if they were lucky. And oftentimes they had 2 to 3 days, long periods of fasting time. Yet they were strong builders. They were very active. They had virtually no health issues. They built stuff. They dragged heavy things. They were strong because they were eating real stuff. And their bodies were functioning the way that they were meant to function, the way that God designed them to function. So, with all that, I'm going to bring it back here, you guys. All of this to say, on Warrior Wednesday Wellsprings, you've got to step out of that system. If you want to finally conquer those snacking issues, hunger issues, emotional eating, sugar addictions, you've got to step out of that system and start building a new foundation for your eating ways and make it sustainable. This is not a diet. This is not something that you are doing for the next 3 to 4 months to lose the weight and fit into that wedding dress or look good at that party or next summer look good on the beach. It drives me crazy. If you're going to do all that work to lose the weight, why not do it in a way that's sustainable and actually keeps the weight off for good? Why do you do it in short periods and then relax and go back to normal and have to do it again? Isn't that the definition of insanity? Come on, you guys. So, all right, with that, I'm going to get off my bandwagon now. Start turning the freaking thing over. See the sign back there? You see that sign? Yeah. Turn the freaking thing over. Start building that habit. Everything, anything. And I don't care how healthy it touts itself. Start educating yourself on harmful ingredients. Second, buy things with minimal ingredients and simple ingredient lists that you understand. Better yet, number 3, buy things with 1 ingredient. Example, a grass-fed bone-in ribeye steak. What are the ingredients in that? 1, meat, the way God designed it to be. All right. So that's my wrap up. In Genesis chapter 9, God gave us all the living creatures for consumption. He also gave us the plants and different things like that. The plant thing, that's another discussion for another time. But that also doesn't mean that we just eat a plant-based diet. That's not the way God designed us either. And again, that's another discussion for another time. But those are God's design foods, you guys. It's time to get out of this industry. Because when we start taking our dollar and placing it other places that are actually empowering us and are better for us and are in our best nutrition and health interests, and we start turning away from the big food industry, our dollar eventually becomes a very loud and large voice. And that's what needs to happen, you guys. All right. So that's my conclusion today. You know, if you loved this video, please click the subscribe button, click the like button, comment below your thoughts. I love to hear it. I try to go back and check the comments and different things like that. So please be active. And if you know somebody who needs to hear this video, send this out, share it on your socials. Don't be afraid of this. This is good stuff, you guys. So, yeah, share it out. And lastly, below in the description is a couple links to get into my world. One of those is a link to join my mini educational boot camp. Look, guys, right now I'm giving away my 3 secrets to not only help you feel energized, to be more focused, to break free from those snacking, hunger, and all those issues, but also to help you to lose the weight sustainably and keep it off. In that boot camp, I exposed the 3 biggest lies that this industry has that are keeping people sick, stuck, and overweight, because that's how that industry makes money. And I show every person that God brings me, I show them how to fuel their body God's way sustainably and how to keep the weight off once they've lost it sustainably for life without a diet. That boot camp is very reasonably priced. In fact, some people might go, why is it only this much? Well, because I kind of wanted to take out the I need to talk to my spouse aspect of it, number one. Number two, look, for ladies, like I know you guys go out and buy outfits, a whole outfit, and it's like usually around $200. And guys, like, oh my gosh, like we drop that kind of money on accessories, like earphones, workout equipment, camping equipment, car accessories, whatever it is for you. And a lot of times we don't need to ask our spouse for that. I'm just making a point, you guys. But join that boot camp. It's not an eating plan, it's not a workout plan. It is a foundation that I promise you, you will never be moved from again. It literally dismantles the mirage that's been put in front of your face all these years. And it sets you on a foundation of empowerment and freedom, not restriction, not frustration, not stress, not depravity, freedom. That's my promise. You ask my current clients, they don't feel deprived. In fact, they feel free, freer than ever before. So the links to join that and to get into my world are below in the description. Have a great rest of your day or evening, depending on where you are in the world and what time of day you are listening. And I will catch you on the next Warrior Wednesday Wellsprings. Thank you for joining me today. Talk to you guys later.